Have you ever considered not telling people what you do for work? Not me, I can say that for sure. Why? Because I always thought if someone asked me what my job was, I was obliged to tell them. Right? Like, it doesn't matter who they are. If they ask me, I have to tell them because they asked. So I gotta tell them. Right? It's like I thought I owed them an answer just because. I always thought this way up until recently, when my husband decided he wanted us to try something new. He wanted us to stop telling people what we do for work. This isn't because it was anything special or secret or anything terrible or embarrassing. That's not the point. What we have been experiencing is people judging us solely based on our job title, income level. And we're kind of sick of it. You know, I don't think this is just us. Like, when you think about it, isn't this how it is in America? Okay, you meet someone new. Hello, nice to meet you. What's your name? Jared? Hello, Jared. And then what do you say? What do you do, Jared? What do you do? And they're expected to answer, you know? Jared over here is supposed to be like, oh yeah, I'm a contractor. I'm a traveling salesman. I'm an Uber driver. You know, you give some job title, and then I'll respond with my job title, and then there we are with our job titles, and we're instantly sizing each other up, judging each other based on job title, job, income, comparing each other, and being like, oh, I'm better than you, or oh, they're so above me. They must be so much better than me. I think that's a little messed up. Like, that shouldn't be the way it is. Right? Or am I off base here? Here in America, our identities are so wrapped up in our jobs. What we do is where we work. All our worth is wrapped up in our jobs. Like, you got nothing outside of your job? This is it? This is who you are? You got nothing else? That seems messed up to me, but also it's the way things are. You know, our identities are wrapped up in our work, in our jobs. You remember me talking about my old warehouse job. Let's say I was still working there, right? And I go around telling people, oh yeah, I work at a warehouse. You know where I'm instantly gonna fall on the totem pole in their head. I'm gonna be way down here. And that's just the way it goes here. But the thing is, nowadays I don't really care so much about what people think of me. Like, I do a little bit, but not really very much. But what matters more to me right now is, what do I think of me? So it's not like, oh, I want to have a good view of, I want people to view me well. Whatever, you know, people are going to always hate you no matter what. But what do I believe about myself? My mentality is, my job is a horrible, embarrassing job. I'm just, you know, at a warehouse, and that's who I am. If my job is my identity and this is who I am, then my worth, my value, I'm just like, I'm one of those lowly people, you know? I don't have any worth because I have this job. This is who I am. It's not a good way to think about oneself or to base one's value. So I don't want to really do that anymore. But at the same time, I do sincerely recognize that it's so hard to separate oneself from something that takes so much of our time out of the day. I truly do recognize that if you spend most of your life doing something, that's gonna kind of become who you are. And so if I'm spending most of my time at a warehouse, it's kind of like, it's hard to separate that version of myself from the real self. And that is a problem in and of itself, which is why it is just so important that we break free of this. And that's what this channel is all about. You know, we gotta break free from this madness, but I need to move on back to the point of this video. What would be better? What would be the better thing to do here? Here's what I'd like to be doing. If there's someone who comes over and meets me for the first time and they're like, what do you do? I know what they're actually looking for. Of course, they want to know what my job is. But no, I'm not going to give them what they want. I'm going to actually answer the question they asked. What do I do, actually? I could say, well, I create, or I write, or I just love my husband. I spend a lot of time loving my husband. Or, I'm harvesting seeds for my garden right now. And then they're going to be like, oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant, what's your job? And then I think the response I've worked out in my head now that I think I'm okay with is, does it matter? I got to experiment and see. I haven't gotten to that part with the conversation yet. Doesn't matter. I am curious to see what their response will be. So, and that's more like to engage in getting a conversation started on what truly matters, Like, does my job matter that much to you? Is it really a big deal? And if it gets to the point where they get upset that I am not giving them this information about part of my life that isn't who I am or very important to me, and I don't want to say like I take jobs lightly or like not like I'm a bad employee and don't show up because it's not important to me. It's not vital to my soul or to who I am. If that person's not okay with being in a friendship or relationship with you because you won't give them that information, there you go. They've made it very easy for you to be like, bye-bye. That's cool. Go away. The other day, someone asked me, hey, so what's your story? And I was like, ooh, what could I say here? I tried to have fun with this, and I said, I'm a world traveler turned freedom searcher. He didn't know what to say to that. He didn't know how to respond. It was kind of funny. And this is kind of bad of me, but I've been finding it very entertaining to experiment with this and see people's reactions. And just like the gears turning, like they're like, what? You're not telling me your job and what? And you don't, and it's just funny. Like, this is entertaining. And it's fun to like test different people and see what their reaction is gonna be. And the thing is, this was really hard for me to adjust to at first, and I am still adjusting and adapting to this. My husband really wanted to do this, and I didn't get it at first. I didn't understand where he was coming from. I was like, seriously? You don't want, like, I feel like this super rude, arrogant, maybe even prideful. Like what's going on here? But I've slowly adapted to this a little bit, but it's still hard for me. I just got this new job, right? And I wanted to tell my family about it. I really did. And I was like, so I can't even tell my family about this? And it was just like, I was really kind of upset at first, but then I was like thinking, and I was like, why am I upset? Because I wanted to tell my family. Why did I want to tell them? And you guys know I've had issues before and I'm like, I wanted to tell my family because I was so excited to get them to stop asking me, so when are you going to get a real job? So, it's not a good reason. It's not because I was actually excited about this job. No. It's not because my family, like, is so happy for me. No. It's because all they want to do is think I'm living normally. And so it's like, you're right, I shouldn't divulge this information right now because it's been some tensions, And then, okay, so I started working, and then it got to the point where I thought, you know what, it's really important. I need to practice this because this is hard for me, and then I need to work on it. So I decided to test it out with my sister, who is awesome, one of my sisters, and we were on the phone, and she just had a new baby, and we were talking about like me visiting, and they're down in Texas, and I was like, okay, that'd be great, but I'm gonna have to see if I can get work off. And then she's like, what, you're working? When did it happen? And it's kind of fun because it's fun when you tell people a long ways after the fact, and you're like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and you didn't know. And it's not like, I don't know, it comes like, I don't want to be like, haha, but it's like, yeah, this thing was happening, and I don't need to be telling everyone every detail of my life. Does that make sense? Like, it's not out of arrogance. It's like, oh, I can have some privacy. I don't need to tell people every little detail. It's wonderful. It's freeing. And, you know, at first she was like, well, I want to know all about it. And I was just like, oh, but that was still out of, she's a good one. She wanted to just like know about it and know about me. And then I was able to just be completely honest with her, and I explained, and I was like, you know, hubby is wanting us to stop talking about our jobs and not give details about work, and this is just because we've been burned before by people, different family members who have, family members who have judged us and identified us by our jobs, and it's gotten messy. And so we're trying not to focus on work because that's not who we are, and we want to talk more about soul things, more spiritual issues, more important things like that. And it took her a second. She was kind of like, but then she started to not only understand, then she could relate, because she's like, you know what? Yeah, I just had this new baby, their baby number 3. She's like, I just had this new baby, and now suddenly all I am is mother of the baby. I'm not even me anymore. Everyone's just like, I'm the mother of the baby. So that was so cool to actually have a real conversation about this kind of tough thing, and she could actually relate to it in her own specific way. So it was wonderful. Like, this is a great way to open up some deeper, real conversation, I think, based off of this experience. So cool. Now to finish this up is the flip side. You know, I don't want people to ask me all about my work and that's it, right? I need to stop asking new people that I meet. And they're like, well, why are you doing that? It's ironic because it's such a habit. It's such ingrained in my mind. I meet someone new, I'm like, what do you do? Where do you work? And I was just like, oh, that did not just come out of my mouth. But it did, because it's such a habit. And it made me realize, because it's such a habit for me, and I'm trying to be intentional about this, and it's still such a habit, obviously it's going to be such a habit for people who haven't been thinking about it. And if it's a habit for me, a habit for them, and I realize I don't really care what you do for work. I don't really care what you do for work. I don't care how you earn money. Why would they care? They don't really care either. It's just a social habit that we ask people this. And so it's like, oh man, here I am stressing that I'm going to offend people or make people feel bad because I don't want to give this information out. I don't need to feel this bad. I don't need to feel this guilty, because I don't think people really, truly care all that much. It's going to be like a what moment? Like, hey, what? You're not answering? But then it's going to be like, oh, okay, I guess I didn't really care anyways. And so, yeah, I need to make sure that I'm not asking people that. And you have to be intentional with your mindset. So instead, things I want to be asking people, like, you know, this is when I first meet them or something. It's like, oh, nice to meet you. What do you like to do? Or what's something you learned this week? Or what interests do you have? Or what are you passionate about? What's been on your mind this week? Stuff like that. Like, it's not even that invasive, but it still leads towards a deeper direction. Or I could actually be very funny and be like, hi, nice to meet you. What do you do? And then they start telling me their job, and then I'll be like, oh, no, I meant, what do you do when you're not at work? Now that would be ironic. I like it. Yeah. And then again, if people are just not okay with themselves getting deeper or getting deeper with you, or like just they only want to talk about work because they've made that their identity, it's like, well, that's okay. That's you. I can't connect with you on that level. Let's go our separate ways and not waste each other's time. Some people are really wrapped up in their job, and that's truly who they are. Let them do them. We can do us. Like, yeah. You know, there's this song. I actually heard a modern-ish song recently that for once, had kind of a good message in it. Let's see. I don't know where my phone went. What was the song? I think it was Andy Grammer. And I don't know if I can play it. I can play maybe 5 seconds of it without copyright. Let's see. Okay, it's The Good Parts by Andy Grammer.
Could not care less about your day job. Show me where it hurts and give me something real.
So now the question is, what about you? Do you have the guts? Do you dare to try out this experiment on your own? Let me know if you do in the comments below.